Hey guys, my name's Ella. I want to tell you, adults are not always perfect. Unfortunately, I know that from my own experience. As long as I can remember, there has always been some chaos at our home. My dad is a very kind person. On the contrary, my mom is very bossy and demanding. How they got together, difficult to imagine, because you couldn't even invent a more unsuitable couple. I grew up in the atmosphere of nonstop scandals. When I turned 16, Dad lost his job. To be exact, he worked at a small company as an accountant, which just closed. As he was old, literally he was thrown out on the street. You know, it's difficult to find a job and settle down somewhere when you're 45 years old, though he honestly tried. And Mom, she's gone to a new level of aggression. Sometimes I thought she even shouted at Dad when she just talked. Strange, but she even loved me. Well, in her own way, maybe. But still, she taught me life, as she called it. All the time she talked that all men are bastards. They need only one thing. She repeated all the time that a woman should become successful herself, not hoping for anyone. I agreed with her on this point, but I didn't agree with her on the rest of the things. My mom knew what she was talking about. She ran a pretty big company with her steady hand since she was a teenager. I think even the owners are afraid of her. Nevertheless, the business is booming, and we live mostly at her expense. But I didn't like the concept that all men are evil at all. I loved my dad, and despite the fact he was calm and quiet, I didn't treat him as a rag at all. Since Dad lost his job, Mom stopped holding back. She started beating him up, like for real. She could simply burst out of the blue and get on him with fists. And he didn't do anything, and took it until she finished. I treated his bruises later, and sometimes I treated his wounds too. It was a real nightmare. Not to live by preying on Mom, Dad tried to earn some money, as a loader for example, or as a guards officer, and then as someone else. Anyway, at least he brought home some money, but Mom took it away from him and gave him some pennies just to get to work. By the way, he had weak health. He couldn't handle that much stress, but did she care? Not at all. On the contrary, when Dad had a fit, she just pushed him out of the house, and that was it. I called an ambulance for him then, but such a betrayal wasn't counted for me. To get out of this nightmare, I studied hard, and I received the chance to go on an internship during the summer holidays. I was fond of programming. I made some apps for smartphones, so I spent all my free time out of the house, wherever else I could, but not there. And I earned quite good money. A couple of my classmates and me made a couple of apps that sold well in the Apple Store and Google Play at once. So we had money from there as well. Step by step, I found out I had the money to rent a flat without compromising myself and my health. I had a job. I had my studies. Plus, I had the money for more apps. We didn't just stop at 2. So, together, we made more apps. In short, as soon as I realized that I had it, freedom, I moved away from my house. Of course, I found a flat on the other side of the city. Then, I asked my dad for a conversation. We talked like adults. I asked him to leave with me, but I didn't want to pressure him. Still, he was an adult. Legally, it was his house, though Mom lived there too. Fortunately, Dad listened to me and moved with me. As it turned out, for all this time, he put up with this because he had nowhere to go. Plus, he didn't want to upset me. I thought about it and said it would be better if they divorced. It would be better for everyone, because all of this hassle hit me hard too. Anyway, for the whole night, we sat in a new flat, and then we started living a normal and quiet life without mutual claims, except my mom. I had to cut off all contact with her. The thing is, she started calling me and accusing me of betraying her. And not just shouting, but cursing at me. She even threatened to ruin my life if I didn't come back home. She didn't care about Dad. Well, by then, I didn't care about her threats, because I already understood that she was inadequate, and I couldn't do anything about that. And if so, why suffer? The last time I saw her was when we sold the house. Yes, now my parents are officially divorced, and my dad made a donation to my flat. I sold it at once in order to never come back to a place where I felt terrible. And you know what that woman told me? She told me she was right, and I would learn it from my experience. Anyway, as far as I know, my mom is now actively involved in all sorts of feminist movements, cursing men. At work, she fires everyone wearing pants. That's total crap. I really don't understand it. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what a person's sex is. A person should just be reasonable. Both men and women can be hysterical. It's not about the sex, it's a question of character. My dad and I are now living together, though he says I should start making my own family. At 19, I really must do that. But it's okay for me now to live like that. I don't quarrel with Dad. We live a peaceful and quiet life. Finally, there are no sounds of screaming and swearing at home. So, what's your opinion, folks? Comment what you think. Who's right and wrong? And stay human. This thing is much more important than gender, age, race, and physiology.